Welcome to the world of those who stayed, a place where I, a soul left behind, will tell you stories you were never meant to hear, forgotten houses, nameless graves, and places where you should never have walked. If you've ever felt a chill with no wind, if you've ever sensed eyes watching in the dark, you're not alone. So, subscribe. I have more stories to tell, and leave a comment. I read them all, even when you don't think I'm there now. Stay silent and listen.
The one-way ticket without a name. I dive on a winter night when snow covered the platform at Raymond Hill. But no one called it murder. They said I ran away from home, a rebellious girl, out of control, a troublemaker. No one looked for me. No one mentioned me in sermons. Only him, the last one who saw me, was still praised as a model of compassion. Pastor Harold Green, a man of God, a guide for troubled youth, a gentle smile in the chapel, preaching forgiveness and love. He gave me a train ticket, one way, without a name. I don't remember if that train was real. I only remember the station, lights blurred in the snow, and the wet sound of a gasp behind my back. My body left me that night. He didn't kill me with a knife. He killed me by calling me a child in need of help. He brought me to the station, spoke softly, wrapped his coat around me, rubbed my hands as I shivered, then pushed me against the wooden wall where the ticket office lights didn't reach, and forced me into the snow. He said, "You've sinned, but God forgives. Let me cleanse you. Just close your eyes and pray." He closed his eyes for me. I didn't get to pray. I couldn't breathe anymore. I stayed at that platform. Number one saw me. No one mentioned car number 3, where he dragged me, thinking I had stopped breathing. He hit me like a defective item. And then ... church services went on. People came to confess. He wiped the tears of other children. No one said a word about me. Before dawn, on October 14th, this year, I saw a stranger. He looked about 25, wore a gray hoodie. Confused, standing alone in the fog-covered station, he quietly walked to car number 3. I smelled something familiar. A faint disinfectant, the kind he used before every prayer therapy session. That boy carried that smell, and a faint streak of dried blood on his sleeve. I followed him onto the car. Inside, he turned on his phone's flashlight. Cracked leather seats, rotting wooden panels, and the print of my hand on the fogged window. He saw it, eyes wide. Then he pulled an old leather journal from his backpack. I knew the handwriting instantly. It was his. Harold Green's, March 14, 1969. The girl came again, said she felt ashamed of her body. I prayed with her, guiding her hand to the place of her guilt. Lucky she had no parents, a lost soul is easier to save than one from a strong home. I trembled. Didn't know I still could, without skin, without flesh. He turned the page. December 10th, I lost control. She stopped breathing, but it wasn't my fault. She was already impure. I only helped her find the way back to God. No. One knows she came to the station. No one saw me push her into car number 3. Tomorrow, I'll preach about salvation through silence. I screamed. No sound escaped. Only lifeless things responded. The door rattled. Wind hissed through cracks. The light flickered. He smiled, a strange smile. He sat down, looked around, and said, "I know you're here. I'm his grandson. I found this journal while cleaning after his death. My whole life, I thought I was raised by a saint, a moral pillar. Now I know I'm the blood of a monster. I stood before him, didn't show myself, only left cold air. He didn't flinch. Instead, he pulled out a small knife, not to harm me, but to cut his own hand. I need to atone. His blood is mine. I must pay for it. You can take it if you want." I stepped back. No, I didn't want blood. I wanted a name. I wanted someone to speak the truth. I whispered, "My name is Miriam." He froze. "Miriam, your real name is Miriam Green." I went cold inside. I never carried his last name, but now I knew why he chose me. Because I was his blood, his bastard child. The journal's final page, December 30th, 1968. Emily gave birth. She wouldn't say who the father was, but the baby had my eyes. I won't let her ruin my life. I'll keep her, and, if needed, send her far away. He was my father. He was also my destroyer. I wanted to scream, cry, rip his soul apart again. But I was just a memory. And the boy, still bleeding, alone in a forgotten train car. He left at sunrise. Left the ticket behind, the nameless one. I picked it up. For the first time in decades, I saw words, not unknown, not female passenger, but Miriam. I'm not gone yet. I'm still here. Because there are more tickets. More girls who never got their names. But tonight, I'll sit in my seat, in car number 3, and wait for the next train. Some live their whole lives preaching the word, but every word is a blade. Ghosts only whisper in the wind, but people, they cut flesh with their sermons. The ticket inspector who never left his postie haven't been alive for a very long time. I died in a place no one remembers, at a time no one bothered to record, but I'm still here, lingering in this rotting train station because I haven't been able to leave. Not because I miss life, but because I still don't understand why I died. I don't know how many years have passed No one comes to the station anymore. No speakers, no screeching wheels, no people. No lights, just me, a few torn, aged souls, and one ticket inspector. He stands there every night in front of control room. No. 3 eyes, never blinking. His uniform still intact. Name tag faded. But I remember clearly J. Hurley, night shift, final station, control zone. The first time I saw him, I thought he was a spirit, like me. But no, he didn't speak, didn't move. Just held out a ticket, as if waiting for someone to return it. And that night, when the first train in 17 years screeched past the dead tracks, I understood. Footsteps, thought a shadow, one rainy night, cold as needles through flesh. I heard footsteps, clear, heavy, rushed. I don't know why, but as a spirit, I felt ... afraid. Something was approaching. Not a living soul, but not a ghost either. A strange aura seeped through the air like rusted copper and scorched flesh. Then I saw him. A young man, raincoat soaked, hair tangled, running, glancing back. He didn't know. There was no escape here, no trains. Emergency exits locked. Power cut since 2008. I followed him. I couldn't speak to him, but I could still ... witness. Whispers buried alive. He stopped at the ticket office. The door was unlocked. The light inside flickered, dying, and there he was, the inspector, still standing. He didn't ask anything, just held out his hand. The man hesitated. He had no ticket, but then something strange happened. The inspector nodded, opened a drawer, and handed him an old yellowing ticket, handwritten. Return trip, one way, non-transferable, non-refundable. His hand shook as he took it. He turned to leave, and that was when the inspector spoke. The first words I had ever heard from him. You still have time to tell the truth. The man froze. The sentence hit him like a blow to the chest. He asked, "Tell what?" The inspector replied, eyes unblinking, about the body. Buried under track 5. The station basement, a bottomless hole. I can't feel human emotions, but I can read energy, and what I felt from him wasn't guilt for the crime, ... but fear of being found out. He ran, still holding the ticket. The inspector didn't follow, just watched him, eyes dark as an abandoned wine cellar. I followed him down to track 5, the deepest part of the station, once used for interstate freight. In 2003, an accident sealed it off. No entry allowed, but beneath the rotting planks was an old basement smelling of damp and decay, and just as the inspector said, he had buried someone there. Not one person, Three. 3 names on a ticket. An old blind beggar woman, a deaf-mute child, a homeless man with a mild mental illness. 3 strangers, no family, no one to search for them, and him, the man in the raincoat. He brought them here, promised to help, promised to take them somewhere, then killed them, one by one. Why? Because he believed. He was helping them. He thought he was doing good. I heard him whisper in the dark, I didn't kill them. I freed them. No one cared if they lived or died. So I brought them to the final station, so they wouldn't have to wait anymore. I'm not a bad person. I didn't know if I should fear him or cry for him, because he truly believed it. The ghost train and the inspector who never left HIS post that night. A train with no number appeared. No lights, no sound, only a stream of black smoke, cold, heavy, thick as clotted blood. The man boarded, still holding the ticket. The inspector looked at him once, then turned to me. Final trip. No one is forced to board, but once they do, they can't come back. I asked, what about him? Does he know what he is? The inspector said nothing, just looked at me, eyes cutting through like wind through a broken glass. They call me a ghost. But there are living men whose sins outweigh everything I've seen in 3 centuries of wandering. The final station sells nitrogen monoxide, return tickets. The train rolled away. No whistle. No conductor. Inside, only him and the souls he had freed. Their faces, ... no longer angry. No hatred, just hollow, as if their spirits had been drained. Second time, I stayed at the station, watching the red lights fade into the night, and the inspector. He returned to his spot, held out his hand, waiting for the next train. Asterisk. I once thought ghosts were the most terrifying things to exist. But I was wrong. There are people with kind smiles and gentle voices who are executioners with bloodless hands. We, the ghosts, only replay memories. But they, the living, create new ones with blood and sin. Asterisk. The final station sells no round-trip tickets. The pregnant woman waiting for a train that doesn't exist. I was once a mother. A mother who waited for a train that never came. I don't remember exactly how I died. Only that there was a heavy rain that night. My belly swollen, legs aching. I stood there, alone on the platform, clutching a train ticket, waiting. But the train never arrived. Since that night, I no longer feel cold, no longer feel hunger, no longer hear anyone call my name. Only every night, when the clock strikes to 17 a.m., I hear the sound of a train whistle, echoing from nowhere. Night, platform, station, was shut down in 1998 after 4 train cars caught fire, taking 17 lives. But the townsfolks still whisper, if you're there at the right time, you can hear footsteps boarding the ghost train. I am one of the souls left behind. Not because I'm bound here, but because I'm still waiting. Every night, I sit on the stone bench by the tracks, hands wrapped around my round belly. Though it's been 25 years, the child inside me has never been born. I still remember the flickering lights on the platform, the broken speaker humming static, the scent of old oil and smoke drifting through the wind. This place was once where journeys began and where many lives ended. The arrival of the living one, October night, someone entered the station. A young woman, pale-faced, eyes full of fear. She carried no suitcase, only a small crossbody bag and a thick journal. She sat directly across from me, and what chilled me to the core was that she looked straight at me. She could see me. No one had ever done that before. She pulled an old photograph from her coat, a picture of me when I was alive, and softly said, I've been searching for you for 15 years. Mom, fragments of the forgotten I was dead, but I didn't know. How? The death certificate read, missing under unknown circumstances. Hospital records were gone. Police reports erased. The girl her name was Maya was my daughter. She had been adopted by a couple in another state after being left at a rescue shelter during a storm. No one knew who her mother was. No one explained why she clutched a torn train ticket in her tiny hand. Maya grew up. She studied journalism, then began her journey for the truth, a path that led her back to South Point Station, where it all began. Knocking in the night, that evening, Maya decided to stay overnight at the station. She lit candles, set up a recorder, and began her seance like questions. Is anyone here? I'm Maya, daughter of the woman who vanished here. Please, if anyone saw what happened, show me. No one replied. Then came the knocks, from the station rooftop, from inside the rusted, locked train car. From beneath the rails, the coldest, deepest part, she filmed everything. But on screen, there was nothing. Only heavy breathing right next to her ear, like something screaming without a voice. The truth from 25 years ago, I remembered. Bit by bit, I came to South Point that rainy night, 8 months pregnant, following a promise made by a man, the father of my child. He was the head of the maternity ward, respected, kind, virtuous, but behind the mask, a monster. I had been his patient, a nurse, too trusting. He never intended to let the child live, never wanted it born. It was a stain on his reputation, proof of betrayal, evidence of his crime. He told me to meet him at the station, promised a new life, a fresh start. But when I arrived, only darkness greeted me. And a shove from behind. He pushed me onto the tracks. Just before the last train rolled in, the witness says Maya continued her investigation. She visited a strange old man, once a medic near the station, now living in a nursing home. His voice raspy like dry sand. That baby wasn't an accident. She was the child everyone feared, because her mother dared accuse the town's most powerful man. She vanished days before the trial was to begin. Maya said nothing. The old man, he was the first to file the accusation and the first to withdraw it. He was threatened, lost his family, branded insane, pushed to the margins of society. You should leave before it's too late. The train that never came, the final night. Maya stood at the station, 2:17 a.m. A train whistle, but nothing appeared. Tears blurred her vision. She pulled out a letter, a note I had written, hidden behind a hospital pillow, begging someone, anyone, to protect my daughter. The air turned razor cold. Footsteps behind her. Not me, him, the doctor, now aged, but eyes just as sharp. He stepped from the shadows, as if hunting something that was never truly hidden. You look like your mother, but no smarter. Maya turned. Her camera trembled. No. One knows what happened next. Only that the next day, people once again saw a pregnant woman waiting for a train that doesn't exist. But this time, she carried a journal. I was once a mother. I only wanted my child to live, to grow up, to know who her mother was. But this world, it's crueler than any spirit I've met, because those who seem kind are the ones who kill without knives. Ghosts linger in the dark, but humans, they bury their sins in daylight. The last passenger on the train without a ticket, I no longer remember how long I've been dead. Time for a ghost is no longer numbers or train schedules. It's only repetition, each cold gust through narrow halls, the sound of wheels rolling over rusted rails, and the heavy feeling in my chest whenever someone steps off the platform. I used to be a decent man, a diligent ticket inspector. I loved the job, loved the late-night trains where passengers stayed silent and stories lived only in their eyes. I died on a winter night that year, an unjust death. But the thing that kept me from moving on was not my own death. It was what I witnessed before I was pushed onto the tracks. Last station, 3:27 a.m. Train no. 419 from the north hadn't arrived, but I knew someone would step off. She always did, every night at that hour, barefoot, belly swollen beyond belief. The pregnant woman, she never spoke, never smiled, just walked to the same bench at the far end of the platform, sat and waited, and waited. No one saw her except me, because she was a ghost. Unlike me, a ghost trapped by an unjust death, she was something else, something that didn't belong here. I used to think that if I was a ghost, nothing could be more terrifying than me. I was wrong. I've seen her whisper into her belly whenever someone wandered into the station. I've seen people without tickets step off a train that didn't exist, with empty eyes and unaware faces, and I saw her follow them until they vanished under the platform lights. Last week, a strange man arrived. No luggage, just a soaked coat and a shattered phone in hand. He walked past me without a glance. Typical behavior of the living. But I recognized him, the doctor. I'd seen him when I was alive, sneaking onto night trains, eyes darting as if afraid of being seen. I didn't know who he was hiding from. Now I do. That night, the doctor sat across from the pregnant woman. He wasn't afraid, as if he knew exactly who she was. I stood quietly behind him. Even as a ghost, something about her kept me from getting closer. I heard them talk, murmured, words, faint and eerie. She asked, "Do you remember me?" The doctor looked down at her bulging stomach. "I remember." Then she smiled, a crooked, broken smile. "So, does my child remember you?" Then whispered, "It was never born." I heard every word, felt them like blades against my skin. He had done something to her. I didn't know exactly what, but I knew he didn't just kill her. He erased her, made her vanish as if she never existed. She, the ghost of the pregnant woman, was the result of a buried crime, a stolen child, a denied life. And now she waited for him, like waiting for the final train. I wanted to warn him, but how? I was just a faint shadow in this world. I saw the doctor stand up, start to walk away, but at that moment, the door of train No. 419 opened. Even though there was no train, wind swept through the platform. Lights flickered, and then faceless passengers stepped out. They surrounded him, not fast, just silently, like a ritual. The pregnant woman stood. She walked toward him, hand on her belly, then whispered, "This is where you board the final train." The doctor screamed. He ran. But there was no way out. Just a last station, no escape. I saw him dragged away by arms without form or face. I saw him sink into the night. as if swallowed by the very past he tried to bury. When everything disappeared, only she and I remained. She turned to me, said, "You know, not all ghosts are scary. Only people can turn each other into monsters." Since that night, she never returned. But me, I'm still here, watching the platform, like the last soul who remembers every face that passed through. Not to scare, but to remember. Because sometimes only ghosts dare face the truth. We were once human, but humans turned us into what they fear. Because they, not us, are the ones who consume the innocent under the illusion of perfect morality. There are ghosts who can only stand and watch. Because if they could scream, they would say, "The scariest thing is not death, but someone who can kill and still sleep peacefully every night." The prayer reader in the waiting room, no one enters. No one wants to stop at North Valley Station at 3 a.m., not because it's old, decaying, or hidden deep in the forest, 12 miles from the nearest town, but because a man is always there, sitting in the waiting room, a man in priest's robes. He never moves, never eats, never sleeps. He only prays in a voice so low and torn. It sounds ripped from rotting dreams. I used to work night security at North Valley before I became part of it. I am a ghost, not because I was good and got killed, but because I saw something I shouldn't have. And the last thing I heard before the darkness took me was the sound of him praying. The waiting room stands apart, built of stone and brick since the war. No one uses it anymore. The only train that passes through North Valley only stops if someone waits. But who would wait in a place like this? I remember the first night I saw him. Around 2:46 a.m., the waiting room door had been locked. Yet I heard metal screech open. My instinct told me to run, but I walked in thinking someone might need help. He sat in the corner. Dim light, shadows stretched long across the cold floor. In his hands, a Bible with a rotted cover. His eyes had no whites, just two black, bottomless holes. Then he began to pray, and the sound made every other noise vanish. I stood, frozen, as if someone had taken control of my mind. When he stopped, I realized I had stood there for nearly 40 minutes. I tried to ask who he was, why he was here. He just smiled, a slow, twisted smile. "I'm here to pray for those no one prays for," he said. Then he turned the page and kept reading. I started asking around. Locals knew nothing. Only one old man whispered, "There was a priest here about 40 years ago. He was seen as kind, until they found a hidden basement beneath his church. Inside were the bodies of 3 children that went missing in 1973. He was never convicted. Evidence was lost in a sudden fire. And then he vanished from all records. I went back to North Valley the next night. He was still there. But this time, something else was there too. A wooden chair, like a confessional. And on the chair, a worn-out doll, patched and torn. I stepped back, but he simply nodded, inviting me to sit. I didn't understand why, but my body walked forward on its own. "I know what you saw," he whispered. I didn't understand until the memory returned. 3 years ago, I worked security at a warehouse nearby. A little girl often wandered into restricted areas. I saw her, but I never reported it. I didn't want trouble, didn't want to get involved. 3 days later, she vanished. Her body was never found. I dropped to my knees. It felt like something was crushing my chest. "I didn't kill her," I gasped. "I just didn't say anything." "And that's enough," he smiled, "to make you one of us." I ran, but no matter how far, the next night, I woke up. In the waiting room, I was no longer human, just a drifting soul, trapped in the loop with that man and his never-ending prayers. I began watching him night after night. I saw people wander in. A young man who'd fled after a brawl that turned deadly. A mother who stayed silent while her husband hurt their daughter. A nurse who swapped sedatives to sell on the side. Each one he invited to sit, and each one never left. I understood his waiting room was not for the living. It was for the cleansing of souls, avoiding their sins. He was no longer a priest, draped in holiness, a murderer still passing judgment, trying to cleanse himself by condemning others, an executioner in priest's clothing. One night, I heard him whisper, "Each soul I bring in is one sin I wash away." I asked, "Who gave you that right?" Smiled, "No one, but everyone needs it." Now, if you wander into North Valley Station at midnight, you might see a man in priest's robes, praying in a crumbling waiting room. You'll think he's praying, but look closely. Beside him is an empty chair. And if you've ever buried a sin, even a small one, that chair is for you. Some demons don't come from hell. They walk out of churches, wearing collars and holding Bibles to make you believe that you're the sinner. Ghosts live only in imagination, but the ones who kill, then pray, they still live among us.